and welcome to another episode of Math with Mia. In this episode, we're going to be doing conversions of metric measurements. Now, if you remember from our earlier episode, conversion just means to change. And the metric measurement system is the measurement system that's used around much of the world. Also, scientists use it as well. Now, I know many of you are familiar with a meter. This is a meter stick. And meter is like the base word for length and distance, the unit of length and distance. If we add prefixes in front of those base words, we can make that either larger or smaller. So for example, if we add centa in front of meter, that's a centimeter. It takes 100 centimeters to equal a meter. Millimeter, it takes 1,000 millimeters to equal a meter. And if we lined up 1,000 meter sticks end to end, you would have a kilometer. So we can add these same prefixes to our other base units as well. For capacity, our base unit is liter. So just like we talked about before, milli, that takes 1,000 of those to equal one of the base units. So it would take 1,000 milliliters, which is about the size of this dropper, to equal 1 liter. And we're going to be doing conversions between those this week. Now there are lots more prefixes that can be added, but we're only going to focus on a few this week. Now next we're going to be talking about the measurement of mass. That would be measured using the base unit of gram. Now a lot of people think weight and mass are the same, but they're actually not exactly the same because weight depends on the gravitational force. So for example, an astronaut that weighed 200 pounds on Earth would only weigh 33 pounds on the moon. And Mia weighs 4 pounds on Earth. She's very proud of that. But you know, on the moon, she would be less than a pound. She wouldn't want to think about that. Now mass is constant. Mass doesn't change because mass is the amount of matter in an object, and it's measured using grams. So we can add those same prefixes to make them larger or smaller. Now before we get started with our conversions, please make sure that you print out your metric conversion sheet and have a piece of paper ready or your math spiral ready so that we can practice some conversions. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at our conversion sheet. So when we look at our conversion sheet, we can see here that we have them in order from smallest to largest, and also this shows the abbreviation. It's important to know the abbreviation because many times these words will not be written out for you and you'll need to look and see what the abbreviation stands for. And also when we do the multiplication this week, it'll be pretty easy, but you have to be careful with your zeros. And we're going to be changing this week a larger unit to a smaller unit, so we're always going to be multiplying. All right, let's get started with our first example for length and distance. So let's write down this problem in our spiral. 55 kilometers equals how many meters? Now when I look at my conversion sheet, I can see that it takes 1,000 meters to equal 1 kilometer. So I'm going to multiply by 1,000. So 1,000 times 55, that would give me 55,000. Okay, now let's write down our next one. We have 27 meters equals how many centimeters? So again, we want to check our conversion chart. And we can see that it takes 100 centimeters to equal 1 meter. So this time, we're going to be multiplying by 100. Okay? All right. So 27 times 100. And you can write it down if you want. Or you can a lot of these are mental math problems. You just have to be careful with your zeros. So 27 times 100 is 2,700 or 2,700. All right, now this one, we have the blank first, but that doesn't change anything. Remember, we're always going to be changing our larger unit So we have 18 meters, and we're changing them to mm, which we know stands for millimeters. So when we look at my chart, our chart, we see that 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters. So we will be multiplying by 1,000. And 18 times 1,000 would be 18,000. All right, next we have a comparison. Now when we do a comparison, we don't want to change both sides. We want to change the side that has the larger unit. And we know that centimeters are larger than millimeters. If you're not sure too, you can check your chart because they are in order from smallest to largest. So when we look here, we can see that it takes 10 millimeters to equal 1 centimeter. So when I first looked at this, I might have said, wow, 47, wow, that's way bigger than just 5. But then I remembered we're not talking about the same size unit. So once I do my conversion, 5 times 10, 5 centimeters equals 50 millimeters. And look at that. Now we have the same size unit, and 50 millimeters is definitely larger than 47 millimeters. So don't be fooled by just the numbers you see. Make sure you're paying attention to the unit sizes as well. All right, next we're going to do a couple of examples with capacity. So we have 71 liters equals how many milliliters? Now this one's pretty easy because we really only have this one conversion, these two words to worry about. 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. So we're going to multiply 71 by 1,000, and that gives us 71,000. Okay? And then we have a comparison. Now this comparison could be a little tricky because I see a 2, and I see a 2, and I see some zeros. But if we convert it correctly, we know that this converting liters to milliliters would be times 1,000. So 2 liters is equivalent to 2,000 milliliters. And 200 milliliters is less than 2,000 milliliters. Therefore, 200 milliliters is less than 2 liters. Okay? Now let's do a couple of examples with mass. We have 42 kilograms, equals how many grams? So when I check my chart, I can see that it takes 1,000 grams to equal 1 kilogram. So my conversion rate is going to be times 1,000. And 42 times 1,000 gives me 42,000. All right? And then we have how many milligrams equals 60 grams. So checking my chart again, we know that it takes 1,000 milligrams to equal 1 gram. So I'm going to be multiplying by 1,000. And 1,000 times 60 would give me 60,000. So 60,000 milligrams is equivalent to 60 grams. All right, and then lastly, we have a comparison. So we have 35 kilograms compared with 34,000 grams. Now this number appears to be so much larger than this number, but remember, we have to look at our unit sizes, and we're going to be changing only one side of our comparison. Kilograms are larger than grams, so we have to convert the side that says kilograms. And if you remember our chart, it takes 1,000 grams to equal 1 kilogram. So that means we're going to multiply 35 times 1,000. And when we do that, we get 35,000 grams. So 35 kilograms is equivalent to 35,000 grams. And now we have the same size unit. And 35,000 grams is greater than 34,000 grams. Okay, boys and girls, throughout the week, you might want to rewatch the video to remind you of these different conversions and how to do it. And always remember that you can use your chart. And we'll see you next time on Math with Mia.